Next question. Can't aggressive vibrating of the superior vocal tract structures cause irritation? Just like if I rub my hands together vigorously for a long time, good in small doses, and over time maybe I would develop calluses or something to compensate.
That's actually a really good question.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a great question because it sounds logical. Okay, if I'm banging all that together constantly, you know, it's going to cause some damage. Yeah. So I think I don't know
But
what.
you said before athletes, and I
Go ahead.
think that's like the keyword here. That people who do this, they're like athletes.
Athletes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Specialists, highly coordinated, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning, you're gonna just to activate these things. You're gonna be you're gonna be looking for it, and you're probably gonna be using it more vigorously. And as you get more skilled, you're gonna use it less and less vigorously.
Hmm.
But it's not. I think that's the thing to remember is that it's your your voice is made to do this stuff. It's made to do this stuff. And just by having those structures, especially in the grunting or growling, oh, all that they're doing is disrupting the acoustics in there with the air, and they're not banging together violently. It's a vibration. It's the even distortion. I mean, why do we have false vocal folds? You could say, well, the vocal folds we only have to close the glottis to hold our breath, you know, but they have different purposes as well. And I can't let's say I can't say there are long-term studies that showed that doing this effect has led to calluses and to um, to damage. There are definitely people who have damaged their voices and their larynx by overdoing it or by doing it the wrong way.
Yeah.
That's I don't know what
It's all about the balance, I think.
it's about balance. Yeah,
Yeah. And being physically fit also. If I need to do that on tour and do it like night after night, like 1 hour show night after night. So I will need to sleep as much as I can, to work out as much as I can, to keep the body healthy and energetic, and the mind also, because it's also mental focus. And when I go up on stage, I don't drink. I try to eat well, all these kind of things that support the because of the, yeah, it's high energy, but it's not about the voice as it is about the holistic, I want to say, perceive, I don't know how to say it, like holistic, how we look at ourselves, like it's body, mind, soul. Vocal cords are like so small, but there's so much to take into consideration. So I won't drink and go on stage, not because it might dry the thing around the vocal cords, whatever, um, but because I need to be very, very focused
yeah,
and very, very balanced to do that, and to do that effectively and not tire myself. Um, so yeah, and the more I do it, the more I feel like it's getting more and more effective, and I don't need to add so much energy. But
hmm
again, doing it for such a long time, night after night, yeah, it costs.
yeah,
And those singers, yeah, they know how to treat themselves.
yeah. I think that's great. That's a great advice, really. And I this is really fun. I just have to share this experience because I've been in I did a lot of musicals. I also did opera. Well, if you're doing a main stage musical, you can be singing anything from classical musical style all the way to rock, full on rock vocals. And musical performers are expected to do the show 7, 8 times a week for a year or multiple years. Well, it's tedious. So you really have to get very, very good at executing that so you don't wear yourself out or cause, long-term rubbing. It's interesting. It was very interesting to me then as a musical singer, having been in a lot of different shows, long run shows, expected to perform, double shows on a day, and then getting
Wow.
into the operatic world where if we had a double show on a day, everybody was like, "Are you going to make it? Are you going to be okay?" And opera is very demanding as well, very
Hmm.
demanding. And it's not normal for opera singers to do night after night after night after night of a big performance, a big repertoire piece, because it's physically exhausting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's physically exhausting, it's mentally exhausting. So they
Hmm.
usually, the opera singers would usually have a day off in between big repertoire shows. Sometimes they'd have to do some back to back. But we'd have double. I had a double opera performance many times, and everybody got through it fine. But they didn't want to do that the next day.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
It's
didn't want to
very, very hard.
for a year like the musical singers. So yeah, these guys that are going out on the road and doing this night after night. Well, why do you think that sometimes they're on stage going, they're singing, "This is a," because they're taking a break.
Yes. And I think it's a part of the strategy because it's not I mean, I don't think it's bad to do these things. And I also coach my singers like whenever you can take a break. If you're like having an instrumental part in the song, go and drink some water, go and dance a little bit, but not just headbang and be full out there, just take it back a little bit. And actually, we've talked about Ginger, and she's so balanced in whatever she does. I saw her live, and she has those little dances, which probably gets her movement going on. Yeah, supporting. She has her, yes, exactly like that. She has her knee on the amplifier. This,
Yeah,
yeah, the pose we like. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and half of the show she was like this, and in between she was just resting. She wasn't like, yeah, I'm headbanging and I'm jumping around. She was energetic, but she also knew when to take it back and
yeah,
take a rest.
yeah. I think
And
that.
sometimes we change strategy. Like if grunting is demanding more and usually demands more, then sometimes we hear those grunters go to creaking. We hear Angela Gasso does that a lot when she was doing her shows. She was like, if you could hear her sing like a, we one, I don't remember the song, Nemesis. If she does that on the record, live she would go like Nemesis or Nemesis. Yeah, she would change effect. She would change pitch. She would go for something easier.
So yeah, I don't think that most people aren't going to be doing this day in, day in, day out for 5, 6 hours a day. And maybe if you were doing that, you could, with time, have something rub off something, create a callus. But no, it's really important. The balance is really important, and that's why singers, smart singers on tour, you have to realize we're all human beings. We wake up to a different voice every day because the voice lives in our body. We have to learn to manage it. So if you're having a bad day, there's no sense if you got another 60 shows coming up in the next 3 months to go out and
Mhm.
push it too hard on one show. You just,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to do the best job I can do. I'm going to have some alternate solutions, and I'm going to let the fans sing a little bit more. And that's just good management. It's not necessarily a cop out, but it's also not possible for a produced sound to get the exact same sound. There's a
Yeah.
French pop singer. I'm not prepared with his name in the track, but
Yeah.
he's got this amazing breathiness on his album. And then I'm like, okay, there's no way he can do this live. It's just not going to be too soft. And the balance is so fine. So, and I checked on the live performance of the song, and he was just singing normal.
Hmm.
Breathiness was
Yeah.
gone because he was on tour, and it wasn't going to work that way. So, studio recording is not always what you're going to hear on tour. You want to hear as much of it as possible, but
But it's about the energy and how you go on stage and the so it's not only about copying yourself on the record. I mean, who wants that anyway? And yeah, many times we're just losing the high notes
yeah.
as a strategy because I myself I do that all the time. If I have high notes in the songs and then I do it live because I have so many things going on. so many sounds I'm switching between, and clean vocals and growling and all that. So, hell with a high note. I'm not doing that on stage. I'll just give a high creak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a studio, and a lot of these things are produced. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
having a great day, of course you're going to sing it, right?
Yeah. Hmm.